Hi everybody, welcome to this Tailwind only general playthrough for Rookie Division in the Prosperous Skies Tournament here on the BK Golf Clash YouTube channel. Please hit thumbs up on the video here and make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Totally free to do so and does help me out here on YouTube to provide you all this free content. All 9 holes of Yongsan Gardens here. As always with all the rookie content on the channel, it is using true rookie level clubs. Remember to adapt according to your play style, clubs and balls that you have available, and also of course to any different wind angles you may receive during the tournament. However, all of these are tailwind in some shape or form, so will help you prepare very nicely for the modifier that is in play on Yongsan Gardens. Some of the replays are from old tournaments, so do use the old ball attribute levels, so bear that in mind when I'm talking about adjustment settings. Good luck, here we go. Depending on the wind angle, if there's any tailwind, like there is in the video here, then we're going to use a power 1 ball and the Goliath. Otherwise, you'll be in between clubs. We want to add between 2.5 and 3 bars of topspin, depending on the wind strength and wind angle. I line up first with the topspin, aiming at the pin, and then I use side spin to the left to counteract the wind, because that's going to push me to the right-hand side. Setting up at max distance with the Goliath and a power 1 ball. Then the adjustment is maximum distance 10% elevation. So with my club level, that is just under 2 rings. If there's any element of headwind, then I would use the Viper or your best wood club. If you're lucky enough to have the Sniper in a low level, you can use that as well. And play from the minimum distance line, in which case you would adjust minimum distance numbers 10% elevation. So on the right hand side, I'm going to use the extra mile, 4.5 topspin, 2 bars side spin to the left. I would recommend you go with a power 2 or a power 3 ball for the second shot more than anything. Setting up with room around the bullseye there on the fairway just to account for any slight inaccuracies. And we're going to aim down the middle of the next piece of fairway and adjust max plus 10. If we have headwind, the reason I suggest a power 2 or a power 3 will be you can adjust into the headwind and not need any overpower. So a power 2 or a power 3 ball would be recommended. Bounce is exactly where we aim after we've adjusted for the wind, and the topspin takes us nicely towards the top left of this fairway. You can bounce on the fairway just at the bottom of the screen there and clear the rough and roll onto the green, but for the best chance at an albatross, I will recommend you go with a rough bump shot. Playing with half a bar of backspin, and I'm aiming at the pin as best I can with the ball guide that I've got. The other option you have here with the rough bump, you can play more to the right of the green, and there is a good slope there as well, but it all depends how much ball guide you've got and how much risk you want to take. Here I adjust medium distance of club, 0 elevation. This shot doesn't really play downhill that much at all because you've got no second bounce. We land directly in the rough, the backspin grabs, and there is a nice slope on the green, so you don't want to have too much speed here. We're dropping it for the albatross. Playing with a power 1 ball, setting up at max distance, 1 bar of backspin, 2 bars side spin to the left. You can also play on the left side here. I'm showing an example from the right. There's slightly more fairway to aim at here. In tailwind, you will need more backspin because the fairway, otherwise the ball may well roll into the water. So if you've got tailwind, I'd put an extra bar of backspin on. We adjust max plus 10, and with the quarterback, that's almost 1 ring per mile per hour. And you can see here we approach the edge of the fairway. There's no rough though, so if you come in too hot, you are going to roll into the water. So I'd rather be slightly short than too long here on the drive. Second shot, we're going to play with our short iron, in my case the Thorn, and I'm going with half a bar of backspin because we've got tailwind here, so we want to just check the ball up a little bit. I've found the min line. You can also push your club up to find the maximum distance of your club and then estimate where you need to bounce in terms of where that is. Here it's just between minimum and medium distance, so I'm going to play 0 elevation depending on where I want to land. So in between min and mid in my case, aim at the pin as best you can. 0 elevation. As you can see, the shot is really quite flat here, so we don't need to account much for the wind, and we're dropping it very nicely for an eagle. On this par 3, we're going to use our Goliath to play a rough bump, and we need a ball with 3 bars of side spin. I'm going to add 1.5 bar of top spin, 3 bars side spin to the left, and we're aiming here with the ball guide pointing at the hole, and with my Goliath level 6, it is stopping 2 green squares short. Obviously, different club levels will have different accuracies and ball guides, so make sure you adapt accordingly. You can always look at the second and third bounce. With Goliath 6, you'll have the yellow ring touching the edge of the rough. Adjustment here is mid-distance, 10% elevation, as this plays a little bit downhill, and we're using power 4 settings, same as the ball that we're using. Making our adjustment here, centering the ball and hitting perfect. A very good chance to drop. Rough bump takes out all the time the ball is in the air from the time it hits the rough, obviously, so less wind effect to deal with, dropping beautifully for a hole-in-one. Simple drive here with the extra mile and a Titan to the side of the green. We're going to go with 4.5 top spin, 1 bar side spin to the right, and at P6 max rest with my extra mile level 5. I'm pointing there just right of centre of the fairway. Don't aim too close to the rough on the right. Obviously, we want to try and break proof this shot if we can. So we're aiming on that furthest away island of fairway in the water. Adjustment here is max plus 10. In this wind angle, I push up to max just to get myself a few extra yards on the shot. You don't have to do that, but it makes for a slightly shorter wedge. Then we're going to centre the ball and hit perfect. Alternate options here, you can play with the big topper and a power 10 ball, but obviously extra mile is preferred. A little bit more accurate, bouncing over nicely, missing the rough, rolling near to the green, leaving you a very simple wedge for your eagle. Hole number 6 is all about getting a good position off the drive to play to a specific point from the fairway to the green. It's not immediately obvious where you're going to attack the pin because there's a lot of trees, but there's a nice route here. We're going to play on the right hand side with the extra mile and a Titan or a Katana or indeed a Kingmaker, but I would recommend really power 3 to have options for your second shot. 4.5 top spin, find a nice bounce point there where you get a high bounce. Don't bounce too close to the water. As you can see, we're about 3.5 rings away from the edge of the fairway. Adjust mid plus 10. If you have headwind, I would then adjust maximum distance 10% elevation to counter for the extra wind push. But either way, we've got room to adjust in all wind angles because we're not at max distance of our club. Bounces very nicely and rolls down here to a point on the fairway. It looks like we're not going to have a clear shot, but we are. 320 yards, we're going to use the wood club because it's going to give us a high trajectory on the ball and we're going to miss all of the trees. 2 backspin, 2 left spin. If you're playing with a Kingmaker, you'll have less wind to deal with, and you could also actually play with 3 bars side spin to the left instead. But here I want to aim as best I can with the ball guide to the hole. Use whichever wood club is giving you accuracy and ball guide, but you want a fair amount of distance. But the Viper's fine, we don't need the big dog here, but obviously depending where your club levels are at, you might need to go with a slightly different wood club. Maximum distance, 5% elevation. I push my rings to adjust, otherwise the trees are in the way. As you can see, I've got a full ball guide. It's not clipping the trees at all, and very luckily here, get a very nice speed. Just needed to aim a little bit to the left. We were very, very close for the albatross. Hole 7 provides a brilliant opportunity to get an eagle on a par 4 because we can quite easily drive the green with the right shot setup. If there is headwind, I would recommend you lay up to the left-hand side, but any crosswind or tailwind, I would go with a berserker or a power 5 ball, and we want 1 bar of left spin and just over 2 bars backspin in this wind angle. If you have straight tailwind, I'd add a bit more backspin on. And we want to bounce there in between the rough and the bunker, almost at max distance with the extra mile level 6. You can see I'm just picking a point in the middle of the fairway, and then we're going to adjust maximum distance, 15% elevation, so max plus 15. Don't need to push up because we're easily going to be bouncing on the fairway with this wind angle, Perfect ball, and you'll see we bounce where we were first aiming after our wind adjustment. The backspin just steadies us up, second bounce before the fringe, and we roll onto the green. You will see some hole-in-ones here. On this par 5, I would encourage you to play with a Titan for the distance. Going with the extra mile, and I'm playing out to the left-hand side of the layout here. 4.5 topspin, 2 bars side spin to the right, aiming with the ball guide just left of centre on that second piece of fairway. And I'm going to adjust max plus 10. If you want to, you can push up to max, get yourself a few extra yards, but you don't have to do that. I'm absolutely fine and have a clear view to the pin with my Viper for the second shot. So max plus 10, starting at max distance with my extra mile, level 5 and a power 6 ball. Centre the ball and hit perfect, and this will bounce over the rough really comfortably with the top spin and go into that dark shadow area, ready for our approach shot. Second shot here we can reach with the Viper, so we're going to do exactly that. In the video I go with 1.2 backspin and 2 right spin. This does come in a little bit short, so in this wind angle I would suggest you go with 1 bar instead. But I'm setting up here with the ball guide. You see the third bounce just before the fringe, and we are aiming left of the hole because the green does slope down to the right ever so slightly. Going to be difficult to try and drop this with lack of ball guide on wood clubs in rookie, but you can have a go. You might get lucky for the albatross, but if not, you will have a very short putt for eagle. I'm around mid-distance of my club here, so I play this one mid-distance with 20% extra elevation. So mid plus 20, bouncing very nicely, third bounce just before the green, and then the slope takes us very nicely down towards the hole. We're going to play a nice bounce over shot with our backbone here and a navigator. We're going with half a bar of backspin and 1 bar side spin to the right. It's very difficult to line this one up, obviously, with an underdeveloped ball guide, but zoom in if you can. And I'm looking at the edge of the ball guide, just aiming a little bit left of the pin. I needed to offset it a little bit more to the left in this wind angle because we missed slightly right. But the idea is still the same. Don't need anything more in terms of side spin here, so you can go with a navigator or a marlin. Adjustment mid-distance, 10% elevation, and I'm using power 2 settings. Then we are going to take our shot, centering the ball and hitting perfect. There's a nice point on this fairway pad. You can see we want to bounce at the highest point to get a true bounce, rolling nicely onto the green, and the speed is perfect. Just needed to aim a couple of clicks out to the left to get that one to drop. Thanks very much for watching this video here on the channel. If it has helped you in any way, please consider sharing it amongst your friends and clanmates in the game. Join us also on Facebook. Head over there, search for BK Golf Clash and join our free group. Loads of members there sharing shots. Free guides are posted, as well as loads of other great Golf Clash resources. So check us out there. You can join in the discussion and also leave feedback on the game in general. Finally, if you wish to help support the channel and keep the content free for everybody, please consider becoming a Patreon member. The link is in the video description down below. Good luck, see you soon, bye for now.